Hello, 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 YouTube! My name is rhianaB, and welcome back to another episode of my RuPaul Drag Race All-Star Review. So, makeup and look theme tonight. Well, technically, I kind of improvised because there was technically no runway, but I went off of the challenge, which was like 90s girl group, and I kind of went an opposite direction, and I decided to do more like a grunge 90s inspired look, so that's why my eyes are really, really dark, and I'm wearing one of my Joan Jett jackets and my Adore Delano Misfits tank top. So I kind of improvised the look, but I really like it, and I hope you guys do too. So let's delve right into the episode because we've got a lot to talk about. So the first thing we find out is that Trixie did pick Aja to go home if she had won her lip sync. So Aja, no matter what, was going to go home. And this gives Shangela a little bit more of a boost and more of like a fire lit under her ass so she can do better in the challenges because both BB and Trixie were going to save her. So that means they kept her for a reason, and that's going to give her a lot of motivation going toward the future. There was also a slight talk of track record and who had the highest or the lowest, who was middle. And Kennedy right now has the lowest track record. She's been on the bottom the most times out of everyone else. She has a couple wins, but, you know, do you outweigh the wins with the bottoms? It's like, you know, it's kind of like up to interpretation on who you think is the worst. And of course, according to Kennedy, she's not the worst, and she would rather go off of in the moment type of judgment as far as eliminating queens are concerned, which doesn't really make that much sense coming from her because she's been on the bottom, and I think she's only saying that to prove that she, you know, to kind of outweigh the fact that she has been in the bottom the most times, but what can you do? It's Kennedy. So our maxi challenge is Kitty Girl groups, and basically it's kind of like a 90s girl group type of a challenge, which, as I said last week, was going to be kind of sort of based off Spice Girls, so that was correct. And their criteria for the challenge is that they have to write lyrics, and they also have to come up with an outfit that goes with their so-called kitty girl. And of course, obviously, this was the revenge episode, so all 5 of the queens did come back. It wasn't like last time when only 3 of them were on the main stage. All 5 did come back, which was a huge relief to me because I was a little confused as to why Morgan and Milk would not come back, but they are back, and they are going to be their own rival girl group to the current contestants. And whoever wins the whole challenge as a whole after the lip sync for your legacy, the winner will pick a queen to stay, and they will also pick a queen to go home. So there's a lot of responsibility on the winner of this challenge. So after the challenge is declared, we automatically have a lot of shade and a lot of drama being stirred up once all the girls reunite. First off, we have Thorgy and Shangela and a little bit of Trixie because the damn note got brought up again, which I thought we would not hear of again, but we did, and I just found it annoying because I'm like, I'm done with the whole note debacle because Shangela and Trixie had already patched things up. They hadn't thought about it in a while, you know, and I just hate the fact that Thorgy was like so dead set on finding out what happened that she picked Ben to like lash all this out, so I'm just like, okay, can we move on from this? And I feel like Trixie felt the same way as well. And then, holy shit, but Morgan just went to town on Dayla and basically criticized her for trying to keep her Miss Congeniality title and being really nice about everything when in actuality she is sending girls home based off certain things. Like for Morgan, Bennett called out Morgan for saying that, oh, she was going to get rid of any strong girl because that was her whole plan. And that's why, you know, Ben sent her home, and, you know, all that kind of stirred up, and that particular altercation, and that will be driving a lot of what happens in this episode, so I'll delve into that later. But other than that, we also had Aja confronting BB about Aja helping her with her look from last week, which I agree with Aja. I kind of wish that BB had said something, but BB was right in the sense that it wasn't going to really help anything as far as the elimination process, but you can at least be courteous enough to say, oh, Aja, my sister queen, helped me with this look. I felt like that would have been more, I don't know, more honorable to do, especially knowing BB and how high and mighty her title is and how, like, dignified she tries to put herself off as. I felt that was a little bit of, like, a shady little move there. And then finally we had Milk versus Kennedy, which by far was the most emotional because now Milk finally has been confronted with the fact that she has been kind of an egomaniac ever since she walked through the workroom doors. And I've said this 1,000,001 times. I love Milk. I love Milk. But I can't believe that she has not, like, seen this, like, or had anyone really remotely tell her that this is how she behaves. And granted, I don't know Milk personally. I don't know how she is, you know, outside of Drag Race, you know, but in Drag Race, she was very egotistical. And I can't, it's hard for me to feel sorry for her because I'm like, girl, how did you not at least see a little glimpse that maybe you were being a little too, or at least you could have said you were maybe overly confident. I mean, that would have been something you could have said. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad she realizes it and now maybe she can move on with this, but in that moment I'm like, eh. So we move on to the rehearsals for the actual recordings for the lip sync, and I was so excited when I found out that Adam frickin' Lambert was going to be a judge, but also the fact that he was going to be helping the girls with their recording. I love Adam Lambert so much. He was my first concert when I was 15 years old, so I fangirled quite a bit, so I was so excited to see more of Adam because I don't see much of him since he's been on tour with Queen, so I was so excited to have Mr. Glambert back in the spotlight. So, okay, enough about Adam. Let's move on to the actual queens. And the returning girls actually did really well. In particular, Aja, like, slayed. She did so well. I was really impressed with her rap ability. I never knew the girl could rap, so kudos to Aja. And then when we move on to the and then when we move on to the current queens, Trixie was struggling, and she was coming off a little too flippant and a little too, like, harsh. Like, she wasn't getting along with people. And she does have a very dry sense of humor, but it just was not hitting with everyone else, and that's why later Adam criticized Trixie for basically being a little snobby. So that was a thing, and also she was struggling a little bit with her character, at least as far as Adam was concerned. Ben goes goth. I didn't quite, at the beginning I didn't quite understand that whole thing of, like, her being goth. I understand that she was in a place where maybe she was a little bit darker because of her confrontation with Morgan, but I just don't really see Ben as goth. It's like way 180 on what she normally does. And she did have a little bit of a struggle because when she was singing or trying to do the lip sync, it sounded like she was too high pitched. She wasn't, like, playing it up like the goth, like, I don't give two shits kind of a attitude and just kind of, like, blasé about everything. She wasn't being that. And that was the thing that I'm like, you need to, step it up a little bit there. So I felt like from the rehearsal only that the current queens had a lot more to deal with. So before we move on to the actual lip sync, we had a little bit of a talk between Ben and Morgan, and at the time, it did seem like they patched things up and that it was going to be all okay. Morgan apologized and things seemed good. I mean, even Morgan admitted that maybe she came on a little too strong to Ben because their personalities, they don't mesh in the way that, Morgan's very confrontational, whereas Ben tries to avoid conflict, and that stuff kind of does not go together. So it's like, in the moment I thought, everything's gonna be fine. And then Milk and Kennedy had a little bit of a talk, and I think they both have very distinct personal issues that kind of manifest in their personality, if that makes any sense. What they've been through and what their personalities are like, it kind of reflects on how they are portrayed. And I feel like that's probably the reason why, especially on Kennedy's part, why they tend to be a little standoffish, or they, maybe a little egotistical, So I feel like that also got patched up pretty well. So I think that's about it. So let's move on to the actual lip sync. I didn't record it for time's sake, and also there was a couple of recording issues on my TV, so that's why I'm not doing a actual reaction to the lip sync, but I'll quickly go through it. The returning queens. I personally thought that they were the best group. I really did think that they did a really great job. Their costumes were, like, they're each their own, but they were, like, coordinated in the fact that they were all wearing pink or pink-like coloring. I liked. Everybody was in character, and I thought the best out of the group was Aja and Milk, because of course Aja killed it in the rap, and then she did this thing where she did like a slow-mo death drop. She like landed on one foot with one leg extended, and then she plopped, and I'm like, bitch, just like, you know, I was living for Aja. And I actually thought Milk did really well, too. She did her weird little dances, which I find hilarious, and she was in her weird little character, and I did appreciate that. So, but overall, I did think that the returning girls had the better lip sync. And then the current queens, the choreography was on point. I will give them that. Everyone had their own distinct character, although some were more standout than others. And my tops, BB, although in the recording she was kind of portrayed as like just making random noises, but they were making everybody laugh. Her segment made everyone laugh. I was laughing too. So she did a good job with that. Ben, I was a little hesitant about, but she did sell the whole goth thing very, very well. So I did put her on top. And I did like Shangela's, although I wouldn't put her nearly as close to what BB or Ben did. Trixie did a good job as well. And then Kennedy I would put her at the bottom because, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't, again, the issue I've had with Kennedy a lot this season is she's not taking that extra step to make her more on top. So we have our winning group, which was the current queens, which again, like I said, I would have wished it would have been the returning girls because I felt like they had the better overall look and overall show. But the current queens did win, and our top two were Ben and BB. So in deliberation, we had Kennedy feeling very distressed because she thought she did a good job, but the judges didn't quite see it, or they didn't see enough of it to make her happy with her performance. And I think that's kind of just where we are. When you are in All-Stars and we're at the very bottom, they're gonna critique you on any little thing that they possibly can. And I feel like just Kennedy's not taking that critique very well because she thinks she did a good job. But the thing is, we're so close to the end that they're going to nitpick everything, so not everything is going to be 100% perfect. I think everyone, maybe with the exception of BB and Ben, they all had good and bad critiques on their performance. And then we had Ben, who is still struggling with what she needs to do. Like, who does she want to send home? Who does she want to save? That's been a thing throughout this entire episode. Shangela at one point tries to comfort Ben and try to tell her that, you know, she's talented and that And I don't know if that's a thing with Shangela trying to make herself look a little bit better by giving her comfort, or if it's just her being a sister and being like, you know, girl, you're okay, you're talented, and all that kind of a thing. And then we had BB and Ben, who talked with the returning queens, and basically them pleading their case to see who wants to stay. Chi-Chi automatically is like, you know what, this isn't my time, don't worry about saving me, She didn't want to be the Roxy Andrews of the season, which she quoted as saying. And then I feel like the ones who were fighting the most were obviously Aja, Milk, and Thorgy. Morgan did as well, but I feel like she would have been okay if she wouldn't have been picked. So I felt like it was Thorgy, Milk, and Aja who were really, really fighting, being like, I want to be here. I mean, Aja at one point said, I'll jump off the damn building for me to be back in the competition. So there is basically that. And, okay. I'm going to say this before I show you my reaction to the lip sync and the elimination. I have been hinting for the past, two episodes or one episode, that there's been a rumor going around that Ben was going to send herself home this episode. She was going to first save Morgan, and then she was going to send herself home. That has been the rumor, and I have heard this since, episode 3 or 4, I don't even remember. I saw it on a YouTube video. I hated that I watched it because I didn't want to be spoiled that badly, because that is a huge spoiler, but it was like, I didn't know if I wanted to believe it, and I don't know if it could happen, because I'm like, there's so much detail here, like, part of me is like, well, if there's so much detail, then it has to be true, but then maybe someone could just elaborately make all this stuff up, because there had also been a rumor that BB was a mole for Ru, and that later she would help determine who would win All-Stars, And the thing is, that hasn't been proven, but tonight, we did have the Ben rumor confirmed, and I guess I'll just let you guys watch my reaction, and then you'll probably get all the answers of my feelings about it from that. Ben's in the right attire for this lip sync? Why is, like, Baby doing, like, the sidestep weird thing? Alright. Someone's got to pull something out, and I'm not... What? Okay, I'm not entirely upset with this wig reveal. Honestly, that's, compared to what we have seen, that's not the worst wig reveal. It's not a Milan. Is she wearing the same sequin catsuit that she wore in her second lip sync? I think it is. Alright, this is when things are gonna get crazy.
You're a winner, baby.
Thorgy's like... I think everyone's like shook. Okay. As far as I'm aware of the rumors, if the rumors are true, Ben's gonna pick Morgan to stay.
I think that everyone here is deserving of getting to be a part of this and of getting to show their talents to the world. And there's one queen who didn't have as much of an opportunity.
She's picking Morgan.
So Morgan, get in here and make me proud. Congratulations, Morgan. You are back in the game.
I would have rather seen Aja or Milk stay or come back, but... Trixie! Okay. Again, if rumor serves, Ben's gonna send herself home.
Which of your all-star teammates have you chosen to get the job? This is the easiest choice I have had to make the entire season.
She is!
I'm going home. What?
No! What? Ben!
I am so grateful for my time here, both on the last season and this season. I scribbled out a different one, I wrote this one in whiteout, and let me tell you why. I hope that you don't see this as a sign of disrespect, because I see myself as such a Drag Race success story. I had such a difficult time on my season, even though I did well. I wanted this opportunity to come back, to fight hard, to show myself what I can do. I've accomplished that. I feel like a winner. I love these girls. I think they all deserve a shot to win, and I'm incredibly grateful. I hope that you all can see that. Actually, I don't know how to take this. I feel so good. I feel like I'm going home winning. As it is written, so it shall be done. Dayla, you are and will always be an all-star.
I really don't know what to say, guys. I really don't know.
I had a real good time.
I'll have to talk about this when I sit down.
I was sitting over those
I don't know what to think right now.
None of those answers are me, so.
So yes, Ben did win the lip sync. Honestly, I think BB could have won it if she hadn't taken off her wig, but like I said, I think I've seen worse wig reveals in RuPaul Drag Race history, so I didn't find as much as an offense to it, but I did understand that, you know, she didn't have anything underneath it, she didn't have anything special, so it just was kind of like a plea to look at me type of a thing. But yes, Ben did win. She does choose Morgan to stay, and I didn't want to believe it, but Dayla did send herself home. And what you saw from my reaction, it was like, I knew it was coming, so I wasn't entirely shocked as I would have been if I had not known. However, it was still a shock to see it happen, and also it was very emotional because I love Ben. I love Ben de la Creme. I think she's a fabulous queen, and I've loved her since season 6. However, I did feel disappointed because even though there's a huge amount of responsibility for what you're doing here, you've made it so far, you've done so well. Why not just stick it out and just play the game, and then, you know, in the reunion you can explain yourself and your reasons why you eliminated certain girls. It's just, I was just so disappointed because I wanted her to stay. I love Ben and she was doing so amazingly well. I just don't understand. Okay, I do understand because she's been having this issue ever since she started the season. She never liked the elimination process. She never wanted to sell out her friends, sell out her sisters. And I understand that, but I want her to stay. I wanted her to stay. She was so good, so talented, and she was so much fun to watch, and I just couldn't believe that she would actually go through with this. And I mean, even Ru, who I don't think gets phased as much as she maybe had in the past, but Ru was shook. Michelle was shook. Carson was shook. Everyone was shook. I was shook. I gagged, and I'm just like, I mean, it was a lot. I almost did cry. Even though I knew it was happening, I'm like, I almost cried just because of the sheer emotion of what I just witnessed. So, I mean, I really don't know what else to say. I mean, Ben's gone. It's still weird for me to say that Ben's gone. I mean, I give her credit for sending her home on her own terms, and if she felt comfortable with it, she felt comfortable with it. I do kind of want her to, in the reunion, hopefully explain herself a little bit more, and if she regrets her decision or not. If she can have like have an Adore Delana type of a thing where, you know, she's embarrassed or kind of sort of regrets doing what she did, or is she gonna own up to it and be like, you know, I did this because it was for me, it's not for the title, I did this on my own accord, da-da-da-da-da. So I'm very eager to see the reunion and see how that all plays out. But other than that, I will say this whole episode was definitely just a roller coaster. A lot of drama, a lot of shade, and of course the gag face crack of the century with Ben eliminating herself. So let's move on to next week. Okay, we've got another acting challenge. It's like a best friend's wedding, bridesmaids, like big fat Greek wedding, kind of a mash page. I don't really know what it is. There is a title, I just didn't write it down because it was really, really long. But it is an acting challenge, so I can definitely expect Trixie to do well, Shangela to do well, and honestly, everyone else, I'm not 100% sure. I don't really remember BB being, I don't know what BB is as far as an actor. I don't really quite remember her doing much acting in season 1. Kennedy has had issues in the past, but she's also had successes. And then Morgan, I think from season 2, she's had a couple of acting fumbles. So I don't know. I predict Trixie and Shangela to be on top next week. And that, I mean, that's going off of just top 5. But I feel like that's what's gonna happen there. And also we're gonna have Chris Colfer as a judge, and I like Chris Colfer. I think he's really cute and very funny, so I'm gonna love seeing him on Drag Race as a judge, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much covered the basis and the obvious elephant in the room of the whole Ben eliminating yourself situation, and again, I'm sad. It's not gonna be the same without her, but I will respect her decision, and I will just move on, and we have to continue with the competition, so we gotta let it go somehow. Alright guys, that is it for this review of RuPaul's Drag Race. If you guys like it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me comments down below. I really want to know what you guys thought of the Ben situation because it was super, super crazy. What did you think about anything from the episode, from the shade, to the drama, to the elimination, anything? I would love to read those comments. And if you want to see my future videos or videos I've already done, go ahead, hit subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you can be notified when my videos come out. That's all I have for you guys today, and until the next video, bye! Mwah.